Stop the brain rot and save your English. Stop scrolling, start speaking. Join us now.
Liam, can I ask you something that's been bothering me for a long time? People say, stop brain rot and save your English. And honestly, I'm afraid that's happening to me. What does that really mean?
That's a very honest question, Emma, and many learners feel this. Brain rot in English learning means your brain gets a lot of English input but isn't trained to use it. You watch, scroll, and listen, but stay in observer mode instead of speaker mode. If this sounds familiar, subscribe and share this video. You might save someone's English. The problem isn't effort, it's that your brain isn't turning input into real communication. So your English feels passive instead of alive.
Wow, so brain rot doesn't mean my English is bad, it means my learning process is unbalanced, right?
Exactly. Your English isn't broken, your brain just learned to consume instead of produce. When you scroll, watch short videos, memorize lists, your brain recognizes English, but it doesn't practice creating meaning with it.
That's interesting, because I understand much more than I can speak. Sometimes I feel like my brain knows the answer, but my mouth doesn't move. Why does that happen?
That happens because understanding and speaking use different skills. Understanding is passive, but speaking is active. When you speak, your brain must choose words and react fast. Without practice, your brain hesitates.
Ha! Hesitation is my middle name in English. Is that hesitation connected to translation? Because I translate everything.
Yes, translation is one of the main causes of hesitation. When you translate, your brain follows a slow path. First your native language, then English. Natural speakers don't do that. They think directly in the language.
Right. I feel like my brain is running two programs at the same time. Is that why I get tired so fast when I speak English?
Exactly. Translation is mentally exhausting. You're not just communicating, you're decoding and re-encoding meaning. That takes energy and creates stress.
Wow, that explains why I feel insecure even when I know the vocabulary. So translation affects confidence too?
Very much. When you translate, you start doubting yourself. You ask questions like, is this correct? Or is this the right tense? Instead of focusing on the message. That doubt slowly reduces your confidence.
Interesting. So confidence is not about knowing more grammar.
No, confidence comes from familiarity. When you use natural phrases repeatedly, your brain starts trusting itself. You don't need to think, you just respond.
Can you give me an example of how translation changes the way English sounds?
Of course. Many learners say things like, I did a meeting yesterday. But natural English is, I had a meeting yesterday. Or, I'm with doubt, instead of, I'm not sure. These mistakes come from translation, not lack of intelligence.
I've said those things so many times. So what should I focus on instead of translating?
You should focus on spoken chunks. These are ready-made combinations of words that native speakers use naturally and frequently.
Spoken chunks. I hear that term a lot, but how are they different from normal sentences?
The difference is how your brain stores them. You don't analyze chunks. You remember them as one unit. For example, that makes sense. I don't think so, or it depends. You don't think about grammar when you say them.
Wow, so when I try to build every sentence word by word, I'm slowing myself down?
Exactly. Your brain is much faster when it uses patterns. That's how children learn language, and adults can learn the same way.
That makes me think. I often try to sound very correct and professional. Is that a problem?
It can be. Many learners believe formal English is better English. But in real conversations, natural English is usually simpler and more direct.
Really? Even at work?
Yes, especially at work. For example, instead of saying, "I would like to request clarification regarding this matter," most people say, "Can you explain this again?" Simple language builds connection and clarity.
Wow, I always thought simple English sounded weak.
Simple English sounds confident. Complicated English often sounds insecure.
That's a strong statement. So overthinking is actually hurting my English?
Exactly. Overthinking creates pauses, long silences, and unnatural rhythm. Natural speech flows because the speaker trusts their language.
Right? I pause a lot. Sometimes I know what I want to say, but I stop because I'm checking grammar in my head.
That inner grammar check is one of the biggest confidence killers. Communication doesn't need perfection, it needs clarity.
Interesting. So, how can I train my brain to stop translating and stop overthinking?
You need to expose your brain to natural spoken English and practice responding with chunks. Short, real responses, not long, perfect sentences.
Can you give me examples of natural responses in daily life?
Sure. If someone asks, "How are you?" you don't need a long explanation. You can say, "I'm good," "doing well," or "pretty busy." These are natural and confident.
I usually say, "I am fine, thank you. And you?" Very seriously.
And that's okay. But real English is more relaxed. Language reflects personality.
So, natural English is more emotional and human.
Exactly. It includes reactions, pauses, and simple expressions. That's why chunks like "really," "no way," or "that's interesting" are so powerful.
Wow, I feel like I'm seeing English from a new perspective. But what about mistakes? I'm still afraid of making them.
Mistakes are part of the process. Every mistake is feedback. When you speak, even imperfectly, your brain learns faster than when you stay silent.
Right. Silence feels safe, but it doesn't help me grow.
Exactly. Growth happens in use, not in silence.
So, if someone interrupts me or corrects me, should I feel embarrassed?
No. Corrections mean interaction. They show that communication is happening. Confidence comes from continuing, not stopping.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way. So, what's one simple habit I can start today to save my English?
Speak every day, even if it's just a few sentences. Talk to yourself. Describe your day. React out loud. The key is consistency.
Wow, that sounds possible. Small, but powerful.
Exactly. English grows with use, not with pressure.
Liam, listening to all this, I realize that I've been very hard on myself. I always thought that if I couldn't speak perfectly, it was better not to speak at all. Is that mindset common among adult learners?
Very common, Emma. Adults often connect language with identity and intelligence, so when English doesn't come out perfectly, they feel exposed. But this mindset blocks progress because language is a skill, not a measure of who you are.
Wow, that hits deep. So when I feel embarrassed, it's not really about English, it's about fear of judgment, right?
Exactly. The fear isn't linguistic, it's emotional. And once you understand that, you can separate your value as a person from your performance in English.
That's interesting, because children don't seem to care at all. They just talk. Why is it so different for adults?
Children learn through use and repetition, not self-evaluation. Adults analyze everything. They want rules, guarantees, and approval. But fluency grows faster when you allow yourself to experiment.
Right? I analyze every sentence like it's an exam question. How can I change that habit?
You need to shift from "Am I correct?" to "Am I understood?" That single change reduces pressure and increases flow.
Wow, that feels like a big mindset shift. So communication is the goal, not perfection?
Exactly. If the other person understands you, your English is working.
Let's talk about work situations again. I often feel extra pressure at work because I want to sound professional. How can I sound professional without sounding unnatural?
Professional English is clear English. It's not about big words. It's about being direct and polite. For example, instead of "I would like to inform you that I have completed the task," you can say, "I've finished the task." Both are professional, but one is natural.
Interesting. I always thought shorter sentences sounded rude.
Short doesn't mean rude. Tone and intention matter more than length.
Right? So what can I say in meetings when I agree with someone?
You can use chunks like, "I agree. That makes sense," or "I see your point." These are natural and confident.
And when I disagree, that's even harder for me.
You can soften disagreement with chunks like, "I'm not sure about that," or "I see it a bit differently," or "I understand, but..." This keeps the conversation respectful.
Wow, those sound much easier than the sentences I try to create.
Exactly. Ease creates confidence.
What about when I don't understand something? I often pretend I understand because I'm embarrassed.
That's another common issue. But asking for clarification shows professionalism. You can say, "Sorry, can you repeat that?" Or, "Can you explain that again?" These are very natural.
I always think everyone will be annoyed if I ask again.
Most people prefer repeating than dealing with misunderstandings later. Clear communication saves time.
That's true. I've seen problems happen because of misunderstandings, so being honest actually helps everyone.
Exactly. Confidence is also about honesty.
Earlier, you mentioned speaking every day, even alone. Does that really help?
It helps a lot. When you speak out loud, your brain practices retrieval. You stop translating because there's no pressure, only practice.
Interesting. So talking to myself is not weird, it's training.
Exactly. Athletes train before competitions, speakers do the same.
I like that comparison. So what should I talk about when I practice alone?
Your day, your plans, your opinions. Simple things. For example, "Today was busy." "I'm tired." "I need to rest." These chunks build automatic speech.
Wow, that feels very doable. I don't need complex topics.
Exactly. Complexity comes later. Fluency starts with simplicity.
I'm starting to feel more hopeful now, but what if I feel stuck again in the future?
That's normal. Progress isn't linear. Some days you'll feel fluent, other days not. What matters is consistency.
Right? Some days I feel confident. Other days I feel like I forgot everything.
That's part of learning. Your brain is reorganizing information. Trust the process.
Interesting. So frustration is actually a sign of growth.
Yes, frustration often appears right before improvement.
Wow, I wish someone had told me that earlier. It would have saved me a lot of stress.
That's why conversations like this matter. Understanding the process changes the experience.
So, if you had to summarize everything we talked about today, what is the real way to save my English from brain rot?
You save your English by using it actively, accepting imperfection, and focusing on real communication instead of rules. You stop scrolling passively and start engaging intentionally.
Right. That feels empowering, like English is something I can actually control now.
Exactly. English isn't something that happens to you, it's something you build.
I feel much lighter now, like I don't need to impress anyone anymore.
And that freedom is where confidence grows. When pressure goes down, fluency goes up.
Wow, that's such a simple idea, but so powerful. So the value of everything I learned today is not just better English, but a healthier relationship with the language, right?
Exactly, Emma. You learned that English is a tool, not a judgment, a bridge, not a barrier. When you change how you see it, everything changes.
That really means a lot. I feel motivated to practice differently from now on.
That's the best result. Small daily actions, spoken chunks, and self-trust. And if you, watching us, want to start this journey today, leave a comment with the word alive so we know you're committed to saving your English.
So from now on, I'll speak more, translate less, and trust the process.
Exactly. And remember, every time you speak, you're saving your English. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next lesson on how to stay focused.
Thank you so much, Liam. This conversation really changed how I see my learning journey.
You're very welcome, Emma. Keep speaking, keep experimenting, and enjoy the process.
I will. And to everyone listening, thank you for being with us. Share this video with one friend who needs to hear this today.
Thanks for listening. And remember, your English is alive. Take care, keep practicing, and see you next time.